patient out of the hospital.
Sorry, Marcy, we'll be back soon.
Hey!
On a motorcycle. Have you lost your mind? He can't even remember our daughter.
He has memories. We just need to unlock them.
Are you ready?
I forgot that Thredson's name was Oliver, actually, until the other day when somebody was like, oh, this isn't your first time playing a doctor called Oliver. And I was like, oh, right. Quite different. I'm diametrically opposed, really. Oliver Thredson was a diabolical character, and Oliver Wolf is a character who's motivated by compassion, and his sole purpose as a doctor is to help his patients live a better life and to honor their dignity. His philosophy is ask not what disease the patient has, ask what patient the disease has. So he's constantly looking for the person in the context of what they're struggling with. I have to say, it really is to play a character who's not going to try to cut somebody's head off in the middle of a season. It's really wonderful. It is really nice, especially this day and age. I feel like to be a part of a show that's actually putting a message into the world of optimism, positivity. Hopefully audiences will see themselves in these characters, not only in the doctors, but especially in the patients, and to generate conversations about mental health and mental well-being and those kinds of issues is really gratifying, really, I think, meaningful.
One of the things that he didn't mention is that this character puts himself into some of his patients' shoes. He literally puts himself in their shoes. Several times we go to doctors, specifically my dentist or any other doctor, and they're doing an extraction or a root canal, and they tell you this won't hurt, and I often have to ask, have you had an extraction? Have you had a root canal? And the answer is no. Even with male doctors who've never had a baby, it's really hard to say, have an opinion about these things if you have not experienced them yourself. And this character really wants to experience what these patients are going through. When creating this character, I picked a few females who I deeply respect. Diane Carroll is one of them, and Regina Hall is another one, and I kind of blended the two. And I think Diane Carroll brings a poise and a classiness, and Regina Hall is hilarious. She's witty, she brings the humor. So I blended those two women, and then the rest of it is Tamberla, which is in itself, I'm a boss. Carol is a boss. She's a loyalist. She is highly sought after, but she decided to work in the Bronx, in her community, to give back. So those are all things that stir them up, you get Dr. Fierce, honey. She does have to convince him. She needs him because she knows that they're a dream team. They have a relationship over 20 years. This could be a dream team. We could solve cases. And our show, we don't stitch people up and send them away fixed. We give them the tools they need to adjust and adapt in their own lives. And together, we can just blow it up. So he's someone that she's wanted for a long time. And this was just the perfect opportunity to get him in. And she capitalized off the moment.
Well, I think one of the interesting things is, Oliver Sacks is the inspiration for Oliver Wolf. It's all taken from his life. So many aspects of the character and of the story, and the relationship between Wolf and Pierce reflects the relationship between Oliver Sacks and Carol Burnett, not the comedy legend icon, but a woman with whom Oliver Sacks went to medical school and was probably, I imagine, one of the only black women in his medical program in orbit, and they forged a very unique bond and relationship in real life, and that is the source of the relationship between Carol and Oliver on our show. We use Oliver Sacks' life as our North Star to tell these stories, and the most incredible part of the experience for me has been being able to draw from his incredible writing and life experience and apply it to a character that I get to create who is separate from the source, which is very unusual. I'm not tethered to any of the constraints of the period in which Oliver Sacks lived, or any of the circumstances that defined his life. We get to take all of the stuff that made him so interesting and iconoclastic and influential and apply it to this fictional character who moves very differently through a contemporary world. So I think the relationship between Carol Pierce and Oliver Wolf reflects that and reflects the origin of Sacks and Burnett. It's a very interesting thing. I struggled with it at the beginning to understand how do I communicate it. And luckily, Lee Toland Krieger, who directed the pilot and the second episode of the show, is an amazing
Incredible.
visionary director and was able to create a cinematic vocabulary for what it is to struggle with face blindness so that the audience can really understand what Wolf is going through and what he's experiencing. So we've created that, which I think is very helpful. And then for me as an actor to plug into the ways that real life people with prosopagnosia would use their... the interesting thing about our show is that so many of the disorders that we explore don't have a solution. They're not going to ever resolve. So it becomes about how do people use other parts of their brain or other mechanisms to help them navigate their lives with these disorders and these conditions. And that's true of Oliver Wolf himself. So what does he focus on in order to, like the color of your hair is something that I could use to identify who you are, or the shade of your lipstick, or the sound of your voice, or specific details about your physical appearance that aren't about me recognizing your face. But maybe recognizing other aspects of you or how you relate to people.
So how does he recognize Carol?
Well,
This is a 20-something-plus-year-old
Totally.
relationship. He knows this voice. He knows when I enter the room without
it's
me
true.
even speaking.
I really
you know?
do. My favorite medical show is Getting On with Laurie Metcalf on HBO. That was and Alex Borstein and Niecy Nash. That was some incredible, with pathos and humor and heart and all of the things that it brought. And then, the class, like ER, when I was a kid, would watch ER all the time. There's some great medical dramas, and I think we're really honored to be a part of the continuum.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah. I'm a Grey's girl, early Grey's girl. Since they've entered their 67th season, I haven't caught up. But Grey's, and I also like Scrubs.
Scrubs.
I actually have a background in comedy, so watching those hospital comedies.
Have you watched Getting On?
I did not watch
you
Getting
need to
On.
watch
I'm
that.
going to watch it. You've been saying that
That's
for like a
one.
year now, and I
That's
need to
one.
do it. I'm a Grey's girl and a Scrubs girl. Yeah.